It's live, uncut, unedited. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Live, uncut, unedited. Part two. Come on in, come on in. Live, uncut, unedited. Live, uncut, unedited. Come on, this is where we tell the truth and
Tell
what?
the truth and shame the devil.
That's what we do. So come on in, people. Make sure y'all share this video. We got to get the word out. This is not prayer time. This is war time right now. We got to know how to war. This is live, uncut, unedited, people. Come on in. Come on in. I want to give a shout out to my YouTube family. Appreciate you. Just keep on sharing these videos. Keep on liking it. Appreciate you. All right. Hey, Dr. Sanders, I see you. Dr. Sanders, you can go ahead and call in. I'll just have you on hold. Just call in. We getting ready to get started. Lee, what's up? I see you. I see you. Miss Rogers, I see you. How you doing? How you doing? This live, uncut, unedited. I need you guys to share this video. Please share the video. So I don't want to, I'm going to wait till at least about 50 or 60 people come on in that we can get started because I don't want to have to keep repeating myself. Then y'all get in the mail. Well, what's the subject is today? What's the subject is? All right, Chris Moore, I see you. Miss Wilson, Tiffany, I see you. 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 This is live, uncut, unedited, people. This is definitely real. This is definitely real. I tell you. All right, we definitely going to do our thing tonight, and we're going to tell the truth and what? And shame the devil. That's exactly what we're going to do. Tell the truth and shame the devil. All right, this is part two. There's a letter that been put out to the parents. Denise Blunt, I see you, I see you, I see you. All right, we have 48 people. I need about 2 more people, then we get live, go live. All you got to do is share it, people. Share the video. I got two of my guests, they on tonight, and we're going to talk, and they're going to explain the situation. I might even show any news on the Dunbar High School principal yet. I'm not talking about that right now. All right. Miss Wright, I see you. I see you. I see you.
Yeah,
Davis.
they don't need to talk about Jeremiah. I know him.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about him.
No, I ain't going to talk. We focus on this one school right now. One school. One school. It's live, uncut, unedited. Let me see how many people I got. All right. I didn't fell off. I got 42 people now. Come on now, people. Share the video. I need you guys to share the video. Matter of fact, let me share it myself. I'm going to share it. Yeah, I'm going to share it. This is live, uncut, unedited, people. Come on in. Appreciate you because I don't want to get stopped in the middle of explaining, going back. I hate doing that. I hate doing it. That's why I'm asking you guys to share this video and be good. We good. It's good. All right. Okay. I want to share a screen up here too. Let me do a screen up here. Share the screen. Put up here this letter up here, and we're going to talk about it. How many people I got now? Okay, I'm ready to go. All right. My first caller, you know who you are. I need you to come on here and start talking to us, explain some things to us, break it down to us. I'm not going to reveal your name unless you want us to know your name. You have to say it yourself. I always identify people by the last 4 digits of their telephone number, 3553. You're on live. Come on, my dear sister. Come on.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. All right. All right. All right. So the question is, you know what we're talking about? We're talking about that viral video that's surfing around social media at a charter school here in Woodlawn, what is called the University of Chicago Charter. So
Woodlawn Charter School.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Was protocol followed in this particular video? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, before you say something, I'm not saying that children all are innocent and they do talk back. And I mean, it's part of the program. It's just like a police officer. You might cuss out a police officer, but it's a freedom of speech in a sense. You know, he shouldn't arrest you because you cussed him out. Now, I ain't say threaten. That's the difference. But I want to throw that out there. Come on, my dear sister. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I'm actually a former principal at that school.
Okay.
So that's hard to see. I would say that principal of a high school south side of Chicago, you know what the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are the professionals.
Mm-hmm.
They're children. And so yes, the young man was disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw the frustration on the first staff member. I could tell that he was frustrated. However, I still didn't like the way in which that he was talking to the student. I still believe that was unprofessional. Again, the young man was the child. The adults are the professionals. The woman that came on afterwards, completely out of line. I would have fired her that day. Okay, no, as soon as I saw the video. So my thing, what I told my staff when I was there, children don't fail, adults fail.
Mm-hmm.
And so the adults are failing. The parents are failing our children. Schools are failing our children. It is the adults that are failing. And even your most disrespectful. I had young men that would be selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that instead, I was like, you know what? Instead of selling drugs, why don't you open up a school store and sell pencils, sell treats, and make money that way?
Mm-hmm.
They started making about $200 a day just doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all in how you approach young people and how you get their respect. You don't respect them. I mean, you think about it. If you come at a lion, you back a lion up into a corner, the only way they can do is come at you.
Correct.
So you're embarrassing this young man in front of his peers, screaming and hollering at him. He has nothing to do but to come back at you.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Well, what I want to do is I want to replay this video, and we'll listen for those of you that's watching or just can listen to it. I want to replay the video and the audio. Actually, I'm gonna play the video, and so we can listen to it. And let me share this with my screen. Hold on, let me get this right. And they also sent a. What's your thoughts about the response letter? Well, let's play the video first. Let me just do that first. Let me play the video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play the video. That's what we do. Everything done in order. Bring people up to speed because a lot of people don't know what's going on. Okay. Share that. All right. Now, people, I'm going to play the video. This is what we're talking about.
You know what? Keep talking to you. Period.
Let me start it over again.
And I'm keep talking to you. Keep talking to you. Period. You shut up. Let me see your tears, bro. That's the problem. You are a kid. So you need to be reminded. And that's all it is. Period. If you're going to be reminded.
Shut up!
Keep talking to you.
What's the problem? Shut up! Get out!
Let them cry. You is. A grown man. Ain't no little boy. I'm a grown man. He gotta go.
That's why I said,
He gotta go.
bitch, get out! Get the fuck out! Who? Who be at work? You be at work? You the fucking knock me out, folks. 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 You mad and you blue. You mad and you blue. You mad and you blue. You a dumbass little boy.
Tell me.
1-on-1. Boy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my dear sister, principal. Go ahead.
I mean, the last thing I heard, you're a dumbass little boy. I mean, that is, yeah, I mean, it's completely unacceptable. I mean, I've had students in that same position that he's in, and it never escalated to that level of disrespect. The adults are the ones receiving taxpayer dollars every 2 weeks to be professionals. And we're supposed to de-escalate situations, not get it to that level. Because what if the young man would have hauled off and hit someone? Then what?
Right. What if you would have picked up a chair and threw it and
we
hit
would
a
have had a
student?
much bigger problem on our hands.
Right.
Anything. Exactly. And so instead of them calming, because there were other students there. And so your number one goal, of course, is to educate. But right up there with that is to maintain the safety of all students.
Mm-hmm.
And by them escalating that situation, they were jeopardizing the safety of other students that were in that classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger question is, what is the environment now of the school that even allowed that condition to happen? Why was it? Because my staff members would not have played that with me. Because it all starts at the top. What is the tone that leadership is setting for staff? And that they need to think that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It always starts at the top. Everything that happened was a reflection of me as the principal. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
The way that my staff behaved, the way that my students behaved when they were in the building and when they were out of the building. Which is why when they would leave the school and go over to the Y and X of school, even if it was a weekend, they were still representing me and that school. I took it personally like that. And so those staff behaving in that way without fear of what administration was going to do, that's a larger problem than what was just happening in that one classroom.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Hold it for a minute, Miss Moore. I got a new caller. Let me acknowledge a new caller, but new caller, I need you to hold on. I got one before you. Okay, Dr. Sanders, what's your comments on this?
All right.
How you doing? New caller? Dr. Sanders, go
Well,
ahead.
no, I agree. Because every principal, me being with CPS, I know that every principal represents that school. They don't own it, but they represent that school. They set the tone and the rules for what should be, especially with staff and students. That's why we have a lot of meetings. The CPS, we're always constantly in meetings about how to do things, how to de-escalate. Yes, there are modules that we do take, especially those that are paraprofessionals and substitutes. We have to take these modules in order to know how to deal with the students. And that way we know what areas to go. One thing I will not do, I will not take a child out of content. I won't. I'm 56 years old. I ain't got time for that. I have worked in several CPS schools, and Martin, you know this for a fact, in Inglewood, where there's two sets of children there that killed their sibling, and they put them in the CPS system, and they'll turn around and they cuss out the staff. Administration, when you're dealing with CPS, it's very conflicting. We know this to be more than anything because we are inside. The battle between the board and the rules, what they want, really in a sense, they want you to get your butt kicked. No matter how professional you are, you need to die for CPS. No matter what the student do. I'm throwing it out there because I'm in it and I see it. So the thing of it is that the TA that was there should have not at all taken it to a street level. If the teacher was frustrated enough to come out of his character, he should have just left. Because when you're working with, I work with cluster and special ed students, and I know how their outbursts can be when they're not happy, when they're upset, when they're disturbed. I know that what triggers them in a lot of areas. And one thing I don't do, I don't trigger, especially the special ed cognitive cluster students at all, because they are not in the same normal set like most of the students that are not in that program. I go according to what the IEP says, but I know how to make them feel comfortable where they can come to me, where they can talk to me. Both of them were wrong. If the teacher was very upset, it looked like what I'm concerned about, because all we see is the video. What happened earlier before the video was shown? Mm-hmm. What happened earlier to put everything into perspective? Because not just we'll talk about that, leave it at that. No. What happened in the beginning? Everything has a beginning. And you're able to determine, well, if the teacher was already on cloud 9 million and already stressed out, and the TA was on 9 zillion and already stressed out, we don't see that part. We don't see that part. We just see the attack, the verbal attack, the physical attack. That's all we see. What happened prior to any of that? Was the environment calm? How were they conducting themselves as professionals?
Well,
that's the thing about that. We jump at the middle of the picture, but then we don't see the beginning.
Let me just say this. One thing I can say from the video, the young man wasn't aggressive. That I can say. He was still sitting in his chair. He never, from what I've seen, he wasn't the aggressive, if I can say that. Now, I don't know what happened
Right.
before the
Right.
video
I'm saying
occurred. I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
What happened in the beginning? It's easy to go in the middle and just say, okay, it's over with. No. What happened? Everything has a beginning. The Bible got a beginning. So when you look at to see where these professionals, how their behavior was before the video recording, what happened?
Well, we'll probably never know.
That's the thing.
We'll probably never know.
What I'm saying.
We'll probably never know, but I'll say this. They didn't handle that
there's
well.
some things you can pick up by observing. Some things you can pick up by observing the language. I'm not in my class talking like my students. I'm hearing this period, who, and they're talking like they're on the street, like they're street children. There was no professionalism there. So then I would assume, based on that the level of unprofessionalism did not just start right there at the video, that they were professional up until that point. And then too many times we build inappropriate relationships with students that allow them to cross the line with us. And I'm seeing things in the comments here like, well, the students knew what to do. They knew they were pushing buttons. And so that's why they were recording. My thing is still, we're the professionals. We're going to let children push our buttons? That's what we're going to do? And so, again, there's no way I'm talking like my students saying, period, pool, get up and put my hands in the child's face. And following
that wasn't their first rodeo. That was not their first rodeo.
That young man was not right.
Oh, it wasn't.
Culture of disrespect that's happening.
No.
I've seen a lot of staff that literally, as you said, the principal said, I've seen a lot of staff become so common with the students. There was a situation in my school today where a student was acting out and was not able to have indulgence with something because this little boy would not stop. He in the classroom, bang, 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 bang. We're telling him that's not the way to act. And I asked him, why are you so intrigued by guns? He looked at me like, I don't know. I mean, and I talked to him, but the mother get upset. The mother want to go and start a whole lot of war with the instructor. But this is the thing. If you don't, when you're working in this system, and I've been with CPS for a minute, it's a lot that we see. And Martin, I meant a lot that we see. Some principals will not allow nothing to go on under their watch. They won't. There are some that don't give a rat's tail, and that's just the buck-naked truth. They don't. Whatever happens. One of my coworkers don't want their child to be bullied in school. They've taken them out of one charter school, trying to find a school because the people at the charter school feel it's okay to bully. And I said, did you talk to the principal? I give you respect, but if you come my way, then you're going to have to come across my train track. And I said, did you talk to the principal? That's who you talk to. I dealt with the one that was over here at Fitz. She didn't like it and removed her butt because I did not like what she did not respond when I asked you to respond. And I don't believe in bullying nobody. That's not my style. But I understand on all areas, especially with CPS, I didn't see too much of it.
Well, let me just say
this.
So
the parents that got the kids in CPS know that I'm telling you facts.
Let me just say this.
I'm telling you what I see.
Let me just say this, Dr. Sanders. A lot of our teachers, the staff that work in these public schools, I know it's dangerous. I know you might have a principal that's not working with you, but the school is supposed to protect the children, the students. But without the students, a lot of staff members would not be employed. Now, I tell people, like a landlord used to say, hey, Martin, if you don't want to pay rent, you listen, if the apartment is good enough for you to live in, it's good enough for you to pay rent. So a lot of these students, a lot of teachers are frustrated at their jobs, at the students and all that, but it's part of the job. It's part, children might come to school with a weapon. They might come with drugs, smelling like weed, being disobedient like today, things. And some of these parents, don't want you telling them about their children. They don't want to hear bad reports. They just want to drop them off.
Well, if you don't have a relationship with the parent, then that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And and so one of the things that I started doing when I was personally there was on the first day we had a family barbecue, because the first thing you want to do is you want to respect people. You want to build relationship with people, and so we had different family members coming out, bringing different things. We all cooked. We got to know. When I would do conferences, we know in high school a lot of parents don't come out. I was able to get 97% of our parents to come out for conferences, but they will. If you make it an initiative, we have to stop looking at our people as a problem to be fixed, and looking at them as partners in what it is that we're trying to do. And when we change that lens, and so I got 97% of our parents coming out to that same school that's now going viral for BS. We were in the news for different things. And so building a relationship with people so that when you do discipline someone's child, the parents trust you. They know that you're with them and you're on their side. But too many of us in these schools, we don't respect our parents. Okay. And our parents have come through the same school system as students where they feel not respected. So there's a lot as far as how we view our families, how we view the children that are in front of us, and building those relationships. I brought in a lot of counselors, especially Black men from HBCUs, so that the young men can see people that look like them, could relate to them. We have to be intentional about solving problems and not blaming students for the systems that are in place that's keeping them from being successful.
Let me let my
one
last
thing
caller.
I did.
Hold on,
I
Doctor.
homeschooled.
Doc Sutton, let me let this last caller say something. She haven't said it. She's been waiting patient. 36.99. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask, has the mother contacted DCFS? And if not, why hasn't she?
Well,
and, the assistant, the hit me foe, I mean, she was gangbanging. She was in there gangbanging. She was gangbanging. All info and all this kind of stuff. And honestly, I didn't see frustration. What I saw was two adults comfortable in their behavior, which is what I saw is two grown people carrying on in their regular, normal routine. And that's why the person that was recording, they were quiet and they said, "I got you now."
Yeah. And
okay?
listen.
This is how they get down.
Hold it, my dear sister.
And for them not to even notice that they were being recorded.
Yeah. The mom just said
they didn't care.
The mom
just nothing's gonna happen.
The mom just wrote on here. She said, "What led up to this incident is Mr. P was antagonizing my son, calling him and one of his classmates gay." Oh Lord! Now we didn't hear that on the video. We didn't hear that on the video.
It just took it to another level.
DCFS.
So Martin, remember I said that earlier. I said what happened before.
Right.
That's what I was saying. The courts is not going to just say, "Okay, we see the video." They're going to ask what led up to that incident. That's what I was saying. Because just taking the picture and recording it in the middle is not telling what happened in the beginning. The courts don't run like that. What happened? What led up? How did it escalate? Who said what? Then you're going to get to that middle.
Well. Even with the video, it shows that they went against protocol. Now let's go to the letter that's up here. Let me put the letter up here. I forgot all about that. What the school is saying. Let me find the letter that they put up. All right, hold on. Let me grab it real quick and put up the letter. The school, they had a response to the incident. Let's see.
The mother needs to reach out to the board and file a grievance as well. Don't just leave it up to the school.
Okay.
No, don't. Exactly. I told her yesterday.
Yeah.
I told her to go over there because they have an office that records over the principal. The principal has
she needs to file paperwork.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I told her that yesterday.
Well, can I read this letter, please?
And contact DCFS.
I want to read this letter. It said, "Dear UCW families, good evening." Let me put it on my other page so I can read it well, because It cuts off on this short screen. Hold on. It says UCCS is investigating a situation concerning alleged inappropriate conduct on Thursday, December the 15th, by staff toward a student at UCW High School campus. As soon as UCCS learned of the alleged misconduct, UCCS took actions to protect and support the student involved and investigated the incident. UCCS understands that a video of this conduct of 1 minute in length has been posted on the internet. UCCS is actively seeking to have this video removed to protect student privacy. The UCCS staff who is in question have not been in the school building since Friday, December the 16th. All right. I'm not even going to read the rest
Can
of it.
I say something else really quick?
Yes, go ahead.
And the mother also needs to, I don't, in the state of Illinois, whenever you're licensed to do anything, whether it's hair, nails, esthetician, teacher, there is a board that you can reach out to, real estate. There's rules in all these different places. And the mother needs to reach out to, that teacher has a license.
Okay. Well, let me read the second.
Teacher has a license. She needs to get his information. Yeah, she needs to get his information, and she also needs to contact them personally and let them know in writing with all her contact information what happened to her son. See, we can't just leave it up to the school.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Well,
she needs to contact DCFS.
Okay.
She needs to contact the licensing board. She needs to
hold it right there, Miss Moore. Miss Moore. How should this be handled?
I'm still here.
How should this be handled?
Well,
first, the parent on the parent part. Yeah.
If I'm okay on the parent part.
Yeah.
On the parent part, all I can do is be honest. I am retired, and so I'm doing my own thing, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have blackmapgenius.com, and so I'm going to say it exactly. If I were the parent, I would have an attorney. And I would follow the lead of the attorney because we, as Black people, we don't fight. We let things happen to us, and people feel that they can do things to us and get away from it. At the end of the day, this happened because we do not respect Black children. We do not respect Black families. In particular, we do not respect Black boys. And Black boys are disrespected on a daily. It is Black boys that get hit by cars more than anyone else, not because they don't know how to cross the street, but because research has shown that people don't stop for Black boys. And what's more unfortunate with this is that this was 2 Black people doing this on the south side of Chicago. The type of behavior that we would expect to see if they were on the north side being pulled over by cops. And so for that reason, to stand up for Black children, we have to let people know that we're not playing with them. And so this school, when you're seeing UCCS, what does UCCS stand for? University of Chicago. One of the top universities in the world.
Hello.
And so the University of Chicago on down need to understand that this cannot be tolerated. And what are the conditions that led up to this? Because let me be transparent.
Okay.
This is not the first incident. This is not the first video that they have gone viral for this type of nonsense. The last time that I went to visit one of my former staff meetings, I had to be escorted in by a policeman.
Lord have mercy.
I was befuddled that a building, that a school that I had helped bring in norms to have pledges and to bring such a level of respect, where 100% of my students were being accepted to college, that this is what was happening there. I was hurt by that. That we've turned a building of excellence. And my former students now, I was speaking to one right before I reached out to you, Marty, a traveling nurse. Another one, I went to a birthday party, a nurse. Another one, Kevin, an engineer. Priscilla went off to Stanford. She's back in Africa now. That's what we were releasing when I was there. And so the University of Chicago has let this go down. And for what? And see, we don't understand how systems work.
Nope.
And so what they're going to do is say, you know what? We gave these N-words a chance with this charter school. They ruined it, and now we have that new building. And what's going to happen? They'll expand the University of Lab School, and plus, we don't think long term. People think long term. They're fine in 10 years out. You got the presidential library that's coming up over there.
Yep.
And so when I was there, Woodlawn was the third. That zip code over there was the third. 60637 was the third for the number of foreclosures in Chicago. You know what I proposed? I said, why don't we do a wealth building class here where we teach our students how to buy the properties in Woodlawn, do it as part of their senior class, do it for a profit and sell it to one of the families in the school. Do you realize the power in that? And guess what? My black ass is no longer there anymore because I was trying to
get her out of here.
Things with those
get her out of here,
right? And when the Trayvon Martin thing happened, and I had an assembly, I was teaching my students about Kwanzaa, and I told them that you have to stand up. You know, my students did that day. They first of all they called themselves protesters, but in the school building, I said, if y'all don't get up, what type of weak protest is this? In the 60s, they went outside to protest. You don't protest inside of the building. So I allowed my students to walk out of school, to march up to the DuSable Museum, and to protest. And of course, they were disrespected by the police. But what I was doing was raising Black people that were going to raise good families, that were going to build generational wealth, that were going to make their communities better. And look at what the school has turned into since I left there in 2016.
Wow.
And we have to be mindful of what happens to our children. And think about how many schools across the city is not create. If I could do that, I am one person. I am from 3855 South Ellis, Madden Park Project. I do not come from wealth. I've watched three of my brothers have been killed in Chicago. So there's nothing spectacular about me. Many of the children in that school were smarter than I am. And so if me as one person could build that type of system, can put together a team, have Black men teachers in there, then it can be done. I was taking my students on college tours across the country, from the South to the East Coast to the West Coast. Well,
that's why you're not there anymore.
They had to get differently with my budget. Yes. What I'm getting at though is there's nothing spectacular about me. If we want our children to be successful, we will put in the resources to make them successful. We don't want them to be successful. We keep talking about an achievement gap. Our children don't have an achievement gap. They're not stupid. It is a belief gap. People do not believe in the intellect of our Black children the same way that they believe in the intellect of others.
Okay,
let's just say this too. Let's just say this. That was a criminal. Everything that went on in that classroom, from putting the young man into the apprehension of receiving bodily harm and threat, to it was spirit breaking, calling him the B word, affiliating his person with a gang, talking about foe, and you're dirty and B and you're dumb and all this kind of stuff. All of that was criminal. Okay, let's it was all criminal.
All right.
Let's stop talking about textbooks, but everything was criminal in there.
I got a new caller, people. Let's see. I want to read the letter before the new caller. Where you calling from? Hello, 3746. You on live? New caller. Then probably. Well, I'll go to like this. I'm going to read the bottom half of his letter. It said, UCCS believes that all students have a right to an appropriate education in a school that is welcoming, protective, in an environment of mutual respect. UCCS has a zero tolerance policy for harassment of any type committed by staff or students against the student or staff. UCCS employees receive regular training to prevent harassment and other policy violations. UCCS does not condone mistreatment of its students at any time and takes all allegations of misconduct seriously. UCCS will continue to safeguard its students and to enforce its zero tolerance policy as the investigation proceeds. Have a great weekend and holiday. So that's the complete letter that they put out in the email blast to all the parents. So
I know when Kathleen and Malcolm Denzel was going there, when they first opened up, there was a lottery pool, and the students, my children, was in a lottery number. And I said, okay, so I put them in after they left this. Kathleen and Denzel ended up going to the University of Woodlawn Charter School. At that time, there was a Chinese director or something over this way near the Places area. And I told them, I said, I want to know all of your curriculum. I want to know how you are set up because you're new in the community. And at that time, Martin Grove Park was still Grove Park. So there were not a lot of students that went to University of Woodlawn Charter School. Most of them went to Fisk or they went to A.L. Sexton. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the Ron Emanuel shut down A.L. Sexton and took Fisk, moved them off the Ingleside over to the A.L. Sexton building with the students. So only just a few percent went to the University of Woodlawn Charter. When Kathleen was there at the time and Denzel, I made my business to talk to the first principal that was there. And I let them know that I am reachable. As a parent, I am reachable. All parents should be reachable. These are students. They're not the teacher's children. It's also the parents' responsibility to make sure that they educate their children at home how to be. And then if they're not a part of the IEP, they need to be. Denzel had a speech impediment, which was called a phonological deficit. When he was going to McKay, I made it my business because I wanted to make sure that my children got what they needed. When Daniel went to Fisk and I had the situation with that substitute teacher, many of y'all probably did not know about the Freddie Wap and the Chief Keys. The parent that was pissed, that was me. Because I told the principal and I called and she ignored me. And she got pissed when it hit the news. I didn't care. You know why? Because you didn't care. So I pulled Daniel out for 2 years. I homeschooled him. I enjoyed it, K through 12. He wanted to play in sports, and I transferred him. In 7th grade, he went to Perspective that was on 80, whatever it was in May, and now they're on 87. And Principal Power does not tolerate foolishness. I sat with the board of the school as a parent. When they was talking about killing our children on graduation, our school had to separate the graduation, which was ridiculous because there was a gang death threat to kill the high school kids. I'm living in the real world. I see what's going on. When it came to the teachers, I made sure to let them know if my son act out, let me know. You can give them the words, but let them know. They never had to call me about Daniel. Never had to call me about him because I became proactive. Okay. We got a lot of students whose parents are in their 20s, and some of them are 18 and 19. We're dealing with that now. But a lot of the professionals that come in need to understand how it works. And if this is not for them, then don't be in this system. This is not a daycare center. It's not. When you apply for a PEL, a paraprofessional substitute, you got to go through ISPE. And you know they got rules. We go through modules every freaking year of how to de-escalate situations, how to be professional, how not to talk about the gay agenda to where I told you, Martin, I had a student say, I want you to look at my mama, she's in Studsville. I don't want to see your mama in Studsville. I'm here to help you read and learn. That's what we see. This is reality.
Yeah. Hold it right there, Dr. Sanders. I got a new caller. All right, caller. 312. Caller. 312.
Oh.
Hey, how you doing? Where you calling from, caller? Hey, caller. Hello.
Hey, good evening, Martin. Hey, Martin, it's Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? All right. What you got to say to us?
All right. Again, I just want to thank you for sharing my story. I thought I heard someone say they was from 3855 South Alice. I actually grew up on the low end Man Park. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, that's where my family's from.
Yes,
Miss Moore, the former principal.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's where I grew up at. I just want to start back saying, a lot of people were saying, like, you know, it starts at home. Like, Sharon wasn't raised like that. He's not a violent person. My son is not in the gang. He don't sell any drugs. You know, I feel like Mr. P was trying to get a reaction out of him. Clearly, he was telling him, like, stop talking to him. Like I explained when I had the meeting up at the school today with Mr. Gordon, I still have yet to speak with the principal. She's untouchable. I can correspond with her. The director told me that I would be corresponding directly with him. I'm not sure as to why I can't speak with the principal, but I would love to hear her perspective on the situation. Again, my son has a hard time expressing himself. When he was telling Mr. P, like, stop talking to him, that was just his way of telling him, like, hey, I'm upset, you know, just leave me alone. You know, I feel like he was provoking my son. He was trying to get a reaction out of him. You know, everybody is saying, like, my son is disrespectful. He was cursing, but how did y'all miss her saying, bitch, get the fuck out? Like, he did not curse until she said, bitch, get the fuck out. And that's when he was like, all right, you goofy ass little girl. Like, she attacked him. No, she's talking about folks hit me. Like, it was just too much. And then, like I told Mr. Gordon, it's like common sense dawned on Mr. P at the end, because he like, okay, Miss Tilly, like, okay, that's enough. You know, like, the situation definitely went too far. And, you know, even though he cursed, like, it was a lot going on. I was just in total disbelief. And for her to call me right after the situation, she said my son was disrespectful. He was cursing them out, launched at her. Like, that's not what I saw in the video. So I'm getting a lot of slack. Like, that's not how he was raised. Like, kids do things. I'm not downplaying nothing that he did. Not his IEP, none of that. But they are trained professionals, and that could have been handled differently.
That's the mother of the son.
Yes.
The young man, right, on the video?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. No, they were totally, this Dr. Sanders, they totally was inappropriate. It had nothing to do with your son. I'm not, no, please don't even get that. No, they were wrong.
No, but people
I don't understand with the university.
It starts at home, like, my son, like,
no, that ain't got nothing to do with that.
Like, I would have took
no.
Like, it wasn't her place.
No. I'm trying to understand what University of Woodlawn Charter School, how their hiring procedures go. Dr. Moore, I'm sorry, please don't cuss me out. Is that your name? How did they, let me ask you this, because at that time they just had, you know, the instructors. How was their hiring process? Did they hire TAs, subs?
I can speak on what hiring was like when I was there. Here's how. Okay. I wanted 5 to 10 references. I called them to make sure that they weren't relatives or friends. I looked up those references to make sure that their job titles matched somewhere online. I also went, before I hired people, I wanted to see what their social media pages look like. Because I wanted to know who was going to be in front of my children. I Googled them. I looked up old newspaper articles, what they did in college. If they wrote any papers in college, I did a thorough research. I then would have them come in. And the second phase was to have them do interviews. I wanted interviews with children. I would set up a scenario where I would stage a fight for my students to see which teachers, which candidates were going to get up and intervene. Because I wanted to know who, how they would do. It was a stage fight. I wanted parents' response. And so it was a process for me because I wanted to treat every child in there as if they were my own. And I had to think about what type of people I would want in front of children. And so did I always get it right? Was I perfect? Absolutely not. What the hiring is like now, from what I've heard, is that the percentage of teachers that are actually qualified, meaning that they have their credentials, is extremely low, probably in the teens. So what the hiring is like now, it is probably nowhere near like what it was before. I also started my hiring very early, around March or April for the next school year, because I wanted the best people before they got contracts in other places. We have to, we're not taking the future of our children serious enough. And here's the thing, here's a data point. And I said before, with my program, Black Math Genius, I'm trying to get our children, I'm working on getting our children right, because here's the data point. By the year 2053, it is expected that Black people will have a net worth of 0. Okay, you know why that is? Because our children aren't doing well in math.
Right.
They're not doing well in school. And so that means that they're not going to be able to go into the careers. The top 60 careers of the future are all mathematics and computer based. We're not preparing our children. We don't have time for this shit what we just saw in the video. We don't have time for that. And so I'm upset from the standpoint of an administrator, because I keep wondering what type of environment has administration set to allow for that to happen. That's what I think, because it's bigger than just this video.
Right, it is.
So
and Dr. Moore,
question: what type of? Go ahead.
You made a very valid point about the data, because let me share this with you, ladies. My cousin was a former testing administrator at Kennedy King College, and the first thing she asked me, she said, "Cuz, I want to ask you something. Why can't our the students that are coming in as freshmen, pass the simple, basic and mathematics test just for junior college?" Well, it piggies back to grammar school. Whatever they learned in grammar school was not prepared for them to be able to do simple in high school. And by the time they get to college, the junior college level, they fail the entrance exam at the junior college level. It's bigger than that. They predict you by numbers and data. Those math scores are very important. The reading scores are important. And the thing about it is that even with the special ed and the cluster program that I work with, when I work with the students hand and verbal content and behavioral, a lot of the IEPs I've had to correct with case management, because what you have here is not what I see now. I work with a baby girl that's in first grade, and she's reading at a fifth grade level, but she's cluster. Yeah, I work with it directly. So the thing of it is that they're not prepared. They are literally not prepared. What she's saying is true. We have to have the right administration that is in place to be able to govern another environment for our students.
And how we
and
view
it's something
our
should
children.
be
I'm even looking at some of the comments and the way we speak about our children. I see children as geniuses, and I see children as loving. I was a landlord during the time that I was a principal. There would be times where I've collected rent and I'll have a couple of $1,000s on me in cash. Never had a situation where students stole money from me, would leave my cell phone in different classes, and would always return to me. If you want children to be respectful, you have to respect them. somewhere along the lines, as adults, we feel that it is acceptable to disrespect children. Because if anyone had got into our face the way that either one of those teachers had gotten into our face, we would have popped off and we would have posted it on Facebook and told how we popped off. So why is it that we think that behavior is okay for to treat children that way? Same thing. My teachers used to do the same thing. They would want to close the door because children were late. And y'all have seen this in school. The bell rang, you're late. But how many times do teachers show up to staff meetings late? I'm going to take your cell phone because you're not supposed to have cell phone in class. But how many times are teachers on their cell phone during a staff meeting? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing was, we want to treat our children the way that we want to be treated. We're going to have the same level of professionalism, and we're going to model it for our students. This is serious. Our children are failing, and what's happening, they're becoming adults. And we talk about where are the parents, where those same parents went through the same school system, and now they're the parents that are having to work 1 or 2 jobs. Maybe they're in a single family home. I have never met a parent that said, I do not want my child to be successful. They may not know how to go about doing it. They may have trouble. But if I'm looking at my parents as a problem, if I'm looking at my parents as, oh, they smell like marijuana, or they smell like this, I can't even begin to help them because I don't respect them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that we're looking at our people matters. And we keep, these children have no respect. We don't respect children. How many of you all that are posting, they have no respect that you're getting in the car playing the most ratchet music you can with your little children in the back? That's disrespectful. We're teaching our children to be disrespectful. How many of you have homes where with your significant other, y'all are arguing and cussing? You're collecting bottles as if they're decoration in your home. You're modeling what it's like for children.
There you go.
We all
there you go, Dr. Moore.
That's
what I'm saying.
Blame children for situations that we've created. We created this home for them, and they're responding to what we created.
Preach, sister.
Exactly.
These are children are our creation. They're our creation, and now we're upset that they turned into what we planted. These are the seeds that we planted. Our children are brilliant and beautiful.
Go ahead, Dr.
Moore. And also, and I said this yesterday, these children listen to you parents that be having sex, having all kind of company in the house, and they come back and they push that right out that way. We deal with that all the time.
All right, I got a new caller.
We deal with it. Because
Go ahead, Dr. Sanders. I'm going to just let you, when she finishes, I'm going to bring the new caller in. Go ahead, Dr. Sanders.
No, she's right. When you bring your children, when these babies come to school, they only depict out what they see at home. They do. And that's what happens. So when we get them, we're trying to show them something different.
Right.
The ones that are really dedicated to helping them, we do try to show them something different. Plus, children are not bad. They're gifted. They just learn a different way from a normal child would. They're able to be successful. I work with them all the time. Very smart. Very smart. I enjoy working with them. I enjoy being there for them. Because when they see me, they gravitate to me. I'm there. So your baby mama that has a son, he's gifted in a special way. But one thing you're going to have to do, as I told you yesterday, Martin, make sure she get my information. You got to fight hard.
Yeah.
Once they see that, you're going to catch backlash. I'm going to tell you that right now. You will catch some backlash. You don't let that go. You don't let it bother you.
Yeah,
I caught the backlash.
And then again, that's definitely not how
I caught it.
My son was raised, but unfortunately the incident happened. He showed bad judgment. The staff, I'm just still in shock at their behavior. So nobody was, it was just a mess.
Yeah.
But I am taking a lot of backlash. Like, that's not how I carry myself. Like, the incident shouldn't have happened, and he knows he was wrong, but they was wrong as well. Like, they study saying, again, he cursed her, but she cursed him first. I'm not sure what he was saying to Mr. P because it was kind of low. We did hear him say, like, stop talking to me. But at that point when he said he got to go, I don't know what was said, but you can clearly hear her saying, cursing him, and then him cursing her, and then her getting physical with him. But that's definitely not how he was raised, and that's definitely not what goes on in my household.
Okay.
And that's why
So
I
I'm
asked Dr.
taking
Moore.
a backlash for that.
All right. Let me just.
Don't worry about the backlash. I
Right.
caught the backlash when it came to Daniel. Screw them folks.
Right.
And I defend you on that. I promise I will.
Let me get this new caller. 0941. Where you calling from?
This is Mark.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Mr. Marcus? This is one of my fellow photographers and activists. Oh, go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead. Go ahead and talk, Marcus.
Okay. I used to work for the Park District, and I saw the video, and I think where the teacher was wrong was by her cursing at the young man. She kept provoking him. You're an adult. You get angry sometimes when kids do stuff, they make you angry. But working at the park, we saw it all too. We got what the school didn't get. They would throw it on us. Kids would come in there and literally threaten our lives and all that. And sometimes we had to stand there and take that and remain professional because we're adults. Mm-hmm. If you continue to curse at a child, a teenager, the teenager is trying to make himself look good for his kids. So quite naturally, he's going to respond back to you in a rough way. But at some point in time, the teacher should have just shut her mouth up and let the people that was trying to deal with this kid deal with him, and that would have probably calmed him down. She was constantly cussing back at him from what I've seen, and that just only ignited it.
Well, what
Marcus, you mentioned that. I want to ask this one question. Did the Dr. Moore, does the University of Woodlawn Charter School, did they hire TAs, teacher assistants?
It's a high school. I'm not sure about teacher assistants. We didn't have teacher assistants when we were there. If that was a superpower classroom or what you all call special education, if those were special education, depending on what the student's IEP or 504 plan is, there may or may not have been paras in the room. So I'm not sure of the situation there.
Of her position. And then mother, with the son that was offended, you were trying to reach the principal. Did you talk to the vice principal, the assistant principal for the AP?
They told me they don't have an assistant principal. Just the principal. Yeah, I was told it's no assistant principal.
And the principal would not respond.
No, the director again. He said he was going to handle the situation. Yeah, I haven't heard from her.
Okay, I want to ask Dr. Moore. What is the policy? Well, what was the policy when you was principal of a staff member swearing at the student or putting their hands on the student?
That was unacceptable.
Okay.
I mean,
she said in the beginning of the call that the assistant would have been fired on the spot. I heard her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's me, hey, I fired 2 staff members on the first day of school one year, simply because they were talking negatively about students. When you set a tone that you're not playing with people, they pick up on that. When you raise the bar, when you increase expectations, people always rise to that. That's what I'm saying. It's the principle that sets the tone. Okay, and so like that's just something because the thing when I had in my school, I'm an engineer by trade, is one of the things was we don't complain, we deal with it. Okay? So we didn't complain about families. We do that, our children are 3 years behind. Okay, how many times are you going to say that? What's your solution?
Right.
And so we started at the Malcolm X Learning Center. And so what I'm getting at is that we have to, and that was the other thing that I told them, I'm an engineer, and what we do is we solve problems. So if our students are 3 years behind, we know they're coming in every year as ninth graders. And why are they behind? What's happening? Where freshmen typically don't do their homework. So we started the Malcolm X Learning Center. We made it a requirement that all freshmen stay after school to get their homework done. What happened? Our data increased. See, we're not, when I was there, we weren't about, I'm seeing comments up in here, these children need to do this, and we're even using profanity even in the comments when speaking about our children. You don't respect children, this is what you get. Mm-hmm. So when you believe in children and you're looking to solve problems, you get results and you get children that are successful, which is why every year that I was there, 100% of my students will graduate and being admitted to college, because that was the expectation.
Okay. Marcus.
It's a sad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to ask Marcus a question. So in the video, you noticed you said the staff was wrong, how they handled it. You believe they was wrong?
Yeah, because from what
Marcus.
I can see, the teacher was cursing at the child. The child was already upset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what really provoked all of this, but the child was already upset. You're an adult. Your adult mindset should kick in. I've even seen this on the CTA bus, where bus drivers, female bus drivers and male bus drivers, some of the kids get them on the bus, don't want to pay their fare. They argue with them. And one day I told the bus driver, why don't you just quit arguing at him? He owned the bus. The police ain't coming to put him off. Just quit talking at him, because he going to keep talking at you, and then he going to run up there and attack you. These kids have a peer pressure. They can come from great parents, but they trying to look good in front of their peers. So they trying to earn them points. And you got to be the adult to say, you know what? You can cuss me out all you want to. I'm the adult. At the end of the day, that teacher gets to keep her job. And if she do get hurt, then it's legal action that can be taken on that behalf. She gets a paid vacation, you know, and legal action is taken against that child. But you got to know when to shut it down. Because I got cussed out many times working at the park district. Got threatened too. And I just walked away like, oh, this ain't worth it. This is a kid. And that's what, I mean, they upset kids come to school full of rage sometimes. It don't have to have nothing to do with parenting. It could be other issues going on that they don't even tell their parents about. But they come to school full of rage. And when they're in those type of classes, they're being picked on constantly by their own peers.
Well,
and to have an adult teacher disrespecting, oh yeah. That only adds fuel to the fire.
I want to say this, Marcus.
And we saw what the female assistant did, but the teacher himself, he was standing and towering over that child and pointing his finger in his face.
Oh yeah, coming at him.
The
coming
male,
at him. The female was the teacher.
And even when the student was being leaving, when she told him, "B, get up," and the security came into the room, the young man was walking away, and she accosted him again. She accosted him again, and he was trying to walk away. And I seen him, like get frustrated, like, you're not going to keep walking up on me and talking crazy. She provoked that. Both of them did. And you know what I know too? I also know that that's something that they do at their job, because we all know if they was to carry on like that in the streets, the news, they'd be inside a chalk print, and we all know it. So you're a bully on top of everything else, because you're not doing it in the street because you're still alive. It's bad kids are all running up and down the street all day long, but you're not popping off at them because you know better. So you're gonna wait and get to work.
He's a man.
Yeah, you're gonna get to work.
He didn't want to be outdone by
you're in control. You're not in control in the street, but see, you have some type of authority in that school. So you get to work and then you bully these kids. They're bullies. Just call it what it is.
I want to say this too.
And again, it's that.
Go ahead, doctor. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the de-escalation situation. I'm thinking about things that I've had like that before, who, I've gone in the past few years even to their college graduation. But, I had a student like that one time, and, they bugging, like someone was saying earlier, something could have happened to them before they even got to school, right? And so I'm like, hey, I need you to sit down and do this or whatever. They're ignoring me, not want to deal with it. I say, okay, well, I have a meeting. I'll be back in 30 minutes. I'll check in with you again in 30 minutes. You don't always have to get your point across. You don't have to, allow time. Allow them a chance to cool down and come back. I go to my meeting, I come back. I was like, all right, are you ready now to go? She still ignored me, not want to say anything to me. I was like, that's fine. I'm going to go down to lunch. And I just kept giving her a chance. Eventually, after a few hours, she's like, okay, Miss Moore, I'm ready to talk. Now, what if I would have got on the face? I'm asking you a question. I said that was going to escalate. She was already heated. That was going to escalate the situation, right? And so I knew that I was the person with the most power in the school based on my paycheck. I didn't have to prove that in any other kind of way. I didn't have to go toe-to-toe with students. I didn't have to walk around like I was, big dog, like I was one that had. I didn't have to get into power battles with students, and especially high school students. They're in the practice phase of becoming an adult. Because in a couple of years, you want to look at them and say, you're 18 now, you're an adult. And then we're saying that, but we also want to refer to them and treat them as children.
Right.
They don't just get to 18 and become an adult that's responsible for so much in the world. No, they're practicing being an adult right there. We have to respect them.
Right, exactly.
Right. I want to, guys, I need to take a break real quick. I want to make a pause real quick. I want to wish Dr. Sanders happy birthday. I definitely want, so I want all people in the,
Happy birthday. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Dr. Sanders. Appreciate
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You've been a blessing to this
podcast. I got to tune out because we got one more day tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right.
We got a last day tomorrow. You all a mother with the son, baby girl. Give her my information. Dr. Moore, we stay in contact with each other. You all have a blessed Jesus Christmas time. Brother Marcus, brother man, I love you. I got to tune up out of here. Got one more day.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sanders, again. Happy birthday.
Okay.
All right.
Love you much.
All right. I want to say this.
Bye-bye.
All right. I want to say this. We're going to end shortly. There's two elements that our young people have to go through. First element is home. You don't know what their home life is. The second element is school. You don't know what the school element is. And the third one is the streets. You don't know what these are elements that they have to walk through, go through. And the fourth and the last one is social media, which is new to the list. And that's a lot, people, that's a lot. If those are four elements that they have to go through, you don't know how their home life, what they're going through, and we have different problems. And I want to say this. It's a lot of adults hate teenagers. They hate them. They can't stand them. They can't stand them, Dr. Moore. They can't stand them, Shantae. They cannot stand teenagers. They don't want it. Their ears are closed to whatever they do. They want them all dead, but they don't realize you're hating the future. These are our future. And if we cast away our future, what are we going to be in this country in the next 40, 50 years? The dear sister, Dr. Moore, already said, we move into a mathematical age, era. And if we don't know math, we're in trouble. We know you have to know how to read in this era, right? We're living in. So we're in trouble. So the bucks don't stop at us grown people. It don't stop. You may have your individual success, which is good. But what about the body? What about the race of people that need our help? That's no good. All right, that's all I had to say. All right, we can close it out. I'm gonna give everybody the last two minutes comments. They can say whatever they want to say. I want to thank all my wonderful guests. Thank you. So thank Mom, Dr. Moore, Cherise. Thank you, Marcus. I'm gonna start with Dr. Moore. She can close us out. I'm gonna give us her 2 minutes or whatever she want to say is open. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I mean, we're the only ones that's going to save us. And if we're looking at our children as a problem, then in fact, maybe we're the problem. And as I wrote this on my board, with a marker, not on my board, on my wall when I was in school. Children don't fail, adults fail. And so the adults are failing our children, and people are putting comments that are irrelevant, and we use a lot, okay? It's not that a lot, yes, some of our children are in this behavior, but we have a lot of children that's doing very well, okay? And a lot of times they don't get the recognition because we're too busy focused on the small percentage that has difficulties. I've never met a child that didn't want to be successful. And sometimes it just takes having a conversation with them. Saying, hey, let's go out and sit on the car for a second and talk. And Martin, you mentioned some important pieces. We've added the fourth piece, and I didn't even think about it that way, this social media piece. I used to say, we have to deal with a child that's coming to us. Just think about on the south side of Chicago, the landscape that our children have to walk through. Potholes, the messed up sidewalks. There's no beauty there.
Trash
Go to the
everywhere.
north side and look at what it looks like. Yes. And what does that say to children? What does it say that society thinks about them? That
Nobody
they allow them to
cares.
live in those conditions. That nobody cares. Okay. And then the dealing with police, right, as they're going through the community. Our children are having to make a lot of decisions. So they have the home life, they have the street life, they have social media, and very few of those things are telling them that they're beautiful, that they're great, that they're capable, that they're intelligent. And then they get to school, and in some cases, we're even messing that up. And then we want to say children are so damn disrespectful. We're disrespectful. We can't even let our children have TikTok. I thought that was supposed to be for children. Now you have grown-ass adults want to act the fool on TikTok. What medium do our children have to be safe and to be children? What do they have? What music do they have that's geared towards them as children? Right? And we want to blame the children. This is the adults. This is the adults. Okay, and so we have to first say, and so as a person, I took ownership. Things that happened, that was my problem, because somewhere along the lines I couldn't control every adult, but I took it as my responsibility. And when we assume responsibility for our community, for our children, our people, I didn't birth any children of my own, but I adopted 3. One of them was a former student from UCW, who was with my cousin. I've been able to afford to move downtown. I've looked at places down there to live in the high rise with a doorman, but I can promise you this, if I get down there with a doorman, I'm probably going to forget about the revolution. So I stay in South Chicago. I stay amongst my people. Okay. It's called making sacrifices. I stay in this place so I can keep my pulse on, and so that I can be an example and a model to the children that see me on my block. Students that went to my school also lived on my block. They saw me in their grocery store like in the old days. So when we become and we make so much money and we move out of our communities, and then we look back and we write a check or we give a turkey on Thanksgiving and tell them what they need to do, we're not helping.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I beg of us to make more sacrifices. Sacrifices look like when I had foster children in. Yeah, I may want to listen to the music with the cuss words in it or whatever. But when I had my foster children in the car, I didn't. I put on YouTube and listen to multiplication tables, or I put on jazz. Okay, that was a sacrifice. Living in my community is a sacrifice. When I had those foster children, making sure that I took the time to do homework with them one at a time to give them individual attention, making sure that I'm cooking meals so that their diet, are we thinking about what we're feeding them? All the red dye, all of the things that we're not looking at all of this. So when I became a foster parent, there were a lot of sacrifices I had to make so that I could be a good adult to those children. We're not making the sacrifices our children need.
Wonderful.
That's right.
Well said. You made Dr. Moore, you made me feel better. I'm trying to go downtown. Put my studio down there. Making me feel bad now. But the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. All right. Okay.
Yes. Put that studio in one of our neighborhoods, brother.
Okay, I got you. Y'all heard that now. I just, you know what, this is my greatest fear, to be honest with you. I don't want to be on 63rd and Halsted videoing, then they know I'm there live. Now they at my back door taking all my equipment out. Now, I don't want that. So I got to have a secure place. That was my issue. Not that
do like I did over here.
Yeah.
Hey, you better go out there and meet your neighbors and everything, brother. When I was here a couple of years on this block, I took the brother standing on the court. I took them some bottles of wine. They didn't even have a wine opener.
Okay.
We got to start building relationships with each other like we used to do back in the day.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. That's true. Okay, second caller. I believe that is 3699. Go ahead, my dear sister.
Well, I just want to say to the mother, I enjoyed Dr. Moore. Thank you so much. Everything you said made a lot of sense. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And to the mom, I'm with Dr. Sanders. You're going to have to fight because they're going to do everything to discredit you, your parenting, your son, everything. Like Marcus said, at the end of the day, the children don't run anything. It's up to the adult. And both adults lost control. And so, you're gonna have to fight back. Don't let them sweep it under the rug. I hope that you contact all of the places I said you should, DCFS, the Board of Education. Dr. Moore said something about an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, you see if somebody will take it. You just try.
If not, we'll run a
failure, but a try.
We'll run a GoFundMe for. So hey, we'll do that.
Yeah, we can do a GoFundMe. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that are very upset about what we saw because we know it's wrong. Yes, your son used profanity. Yes, he talked back, but it was nothing criminal about what he did.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw criminal was what the adults were doing.
Correct.
So please remember that. That's all.
Correct. And he was not expelled from school, nor was he arrested. All right. Okay, Marcus, I'm gonna let
there was nothing criminal about what the child did.
Right. Okay. You done, my dear sister? You done? Okay, Marcus.
Yeah, and also
go ahead. Go ahead, sister.
I just want to say one more thing, Marcus. We saw the female assistant lay hands on the child, but just remember that it's also a crime to put a person in the apprehension of receiving any type of bodily harm as well. So both of them were criminals. Okay, it's not just she put her hands on him. No, he accosted him. He stood up over him. He put his fingers in his face, and that would make anybody uncomfortable. So they both were criminals. It was a battery that took place and an assault. Okay, that's it.
Okay, Marcus. Marcus, I'm gonna let the mom.
All right. So basically, what I want to say is, Black teenagers are not loved. You said teenagers. Some adults hate teenagers.
Yes,
That's
they
true.
do. Yes.
And Black teenagers hate. I mean, if they hate it by the way they wear their clothes and all of that, by the music that they listen to. Well, we were teenagers too. We listened to music that our parents didn't like. We dressed the way our parents did not like us to dress. What happened at that school, I would say to the mother, get you an attorney before you do anything and sue the hell out of it for what they did. Get you an attorney because it can have a long-term effect on your son. Get you an attorney and sue the hell out of them because both adults was totally out of place. And sometimes we men, we don't want to be outdone by little boys. And we feel we have to let them know that we're the man, But this was a teacher. He should have known better. And I'm quite sure they taught him better. But then again, this is the Chicago public school system. And they've not only failed the kids of today, they failed us. I mean, I'm going to keep it real. They didn't teach us nothing. And it's by design. You got teachers up in there that's emotional, that's abusive and probably abusive to their own kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't been uncovered. But sue the hell out of them. Black people, start loving your Black teenagers, even the one that's standing on the street corner. And maybe you'll stop this carjacking. Maybe you'll stop this disrespectful. Love them even when they disrespect you. Be the adult and love them. Sometimes silence is the greatest weapon of all. just not saying nothing and staring them down will make them think twice about their actions. Sometimes you just got to walk away from ignorance. If it ain't violent, if they're not hitting on you, don't hit on them.
And Marcus, another thing that we didn't speak on is the dress code of the staff. That's another thing. Yeah. The dress code of the staff. I mean, she had the long pink hair, and you know,
that's not a crime.
The teacher, he looked like one of the students. Yeah, it's not a crime, but dress. You have to dress for success. You have to dress in an authority position. It was, you know, come on now. Come on now. You know, how are you going to get a kid to respect you and you look like them? You're dressing like them. You're talking like them. You're acting like them. It was like a prison yard brawl up in there. Who's going to respect that?
And that's what they want our kids to go to, is prison. School is like the gateway to prison. That's what they seem to be preparing them to do.
The school to prison pipeline. Okay, Mom, I'm gonna give you the last words. You still there, Mom? Close us out.
I'm kind of glad Dr. Moore during process, because again, like I went on Miss Tillie's social media, and she was definitely an aggressive person. Like her social media, like it was just self-explanatory. Like she was talking about fighting and all that type of stuff. So they definitely, you know, didn't look into her social media page, because they saying that my son was disrespectful when he was out of line, but she was totally aggressive. Like, you know, that's just what she did, you know, and it played out in the video. So she definitely deleted her social media page. But again, Martin, I just want to thank you for putting me on your platform, you know, sharing my story. I appreciate all advice. If anyone can send any resources my way as far as an attorney or something like that, you know, as far as how to file these complaints, you know, any resources, you know, any advice, that would be great. And, you know, I definitely, you know, this situation didn't sit well with me. You know, I definitely, you know, see that people have a different perspective on the situation, but, you know, it was definitely unprofessional. You know, that's not how you handle a situation. You know, it wasn't her place. Again, you know, I would have handled that situation. And the fact that she called me and told me that it was a totally different situation, like, you know, that don't sit with me. Like, I trusted her over my own child. And, you know, I really had to apologize to him, because, you know, he was telling the truth. Like, had that video not surfaced, like, she would literally still have a job, like, would. So I definitely appreciate the fact that, you know, the video did come out. And I did apologize to my son. You know, a lot of people saying that he was wrong, but she was wrong as well. And the fact that she called me and told me a total distortion of the situation, like, that's not even how it happened.
Okay.
Again, I thank everybody for the advice. Again, any resources anyone can send me, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Thank you for being so patient and opening up to trust us to do the right thing with the video. And hey, just thank you again. I want to thank all of my wonderful panel, Dr. Moore, Cherise, the mom, Stephanie, Marcus, the activist, fellow photographer, professional photographer. I'll say that. Thank you guys for all your opinions. Thank you so much. This is live, uncut, unedited. I want to say good night to all of y'all. And this is where we tell the truth and
tell the truth and shame the devil.
And what? Amen. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. I'm going.
Amen.
All right. Good night.